Hey guys, today's grammar assignment we are going to be going over verb phrases, helping verbs, and main verbs. Okay. The first thing that we need to know is what a verb phrase is. So, a verb phrase is when a verb includes two or more words is called a verb phrase. When a verb includes two or more words. You know that a verb is a word or a word that expresses an action or being. We've talked about action verbs. A verb phrase is a verb in which two or more words work together. So, for instance, citizens, here's an example, are voting for the next president. Okay, citizens would be my subject, my who or my what. What are they doing? They are voting, but there happens to be actually two words working together here. Two verbs are working together. We went over be verbs, so are is a verb and voting is a verb. So I actually have like a linking verb and an action verb working together. This is what we are going to call a verb phrase. Okay. So, citizens are voting for the next president. They are working together. This would be considered your verb phrase. Another one would be they will cast their votes on Tuesday. So, they is my subject, my who or my what, and will cast is what they're going to be doing. So, here's my verb phrase. Two words working together. Two verbs working together. Okay? Okay, so a main verb is the most important verb in a verb phrase. The helping verb works with the main verb to tell about an action. So you have main verbs, which is the most important verb in the verb phrase. And then you have helping verbs, which work with the main verb. Okay? So on each of the phrases that I had given you on this slide here, there were two words working together. So one of those words is the main one, and one of them was the helping. So we're going to go over how we know how to find out which ones are helping and which ones are main. Okay? A list of helping verbs. So this might help. I'm going to make, see if this will work here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. I'm going to make kind of like a chart here and see if I can't show you. You do have, when you come back to class, you'll have grammar books. If you are not coming back to class, I'm going to continue doing notes like this anyways, but so that in the grammar book, I'm trying to show you what this chart looks like. Okay. So they have this chart and it has three different sections, okay? And then at the top you have your helping verbs, and then it says usually with this main verb ending, okay? And then you have an example at the end. So different helping verbs are kind of like I said, they're kind of like linking verbs. They're very similar in the sense that we went over linking verbs the other day. So your helping verbs am, is, are, was, were. Any of your be verbs, if you remember doing those, they are linking verbs. They're also considered helping verbs. They are going to go with action verbs that end in ing. So your main verbs, and I'm going to put that down here, your main verbs are your action verbs. Main verbs are action verbs. Okay? So, for example, I can write a sentence using one of my helping verbs using a main action verb, but it has to end in ing. So I could say Tina was helping her grandma. Okay, so in this sentence I have Tina, I have was, which would be one of my helping verbs, and I have helping, which is an action verb with an ing ending. Okay, so my verb phrase for this sentence is was helping. And then what I'm going to do is for the red, I'm going to circle my my helping verbs are going to be in red, and my main verbs will be in green. Okay? So let's go down here. There are more helping verbs for us to go over. The next one would be have, has, had. And they are going to go with main verbs that end in ed. So, for example, they have the sentence, I have helped her. So you have the word have, which is our helping verb. Okay, have is working with the word helped. Have helped is my verb phrase, so I'm going to underline it. And then I'm going to go up here and grab my pen, and I need to circle my helping verb, which in this case is have. So I'm going to go circle my helping verb. And then I'm going to get green, and I'm going to circle my main verb, which is helped. So another set of helping verbs that you may come across would be do, does, did, can, could, will, would, should, and must. I'm going to move this down a little bit. Okay? Now there's a lot in that group. And they are all going to work with any helping verbs that there is no change in the verb. So what do I mean by that? I mean I'm not adding anything to the end of it. So I could say, my mom will help me with my work. Okay, notice help. I have will, which is my helping verb. Okay, and I have help. Help doesn't have an ending to it. Like here it had an ed and here it had an ing. Now I just have help. Okay, so any of these helping verbs are going to go with action verbs that do not change the ending. So again, I'm going to go and get my marker. My helping verb is will. My main verb is help. Okay? So keeping in mind, you have helping verbs, which are kind of very similar to the linking verbs that we learned the other day. You have a main verb, which is like an action verb, which we also learned the other day. And depending on whatever ending that action verb or main verb has, that's going to tell you which helping verb to use. So to try a few examples, I'm going to write a couple sentences out here. There is also there's one little small note I want to make before I do that. Sometimes other words such as not, always, or the word never might be in your sentence, or they might come between the helping and the main verb, okay? And I'll show you an example of that. When this happens, okay, they are not going to be included. Do not include in your verb phrase. Okay, so let me give you an example. I could say courts do not decide all legal questions. Oops, legal. Okay, so this could be my sentence. Do is a helping verb. Okay, so I'm going to underline it. And decide is my main action verb. But in between them, I have the word not. I'm not going to underline the word not. Why? Well, because these words right here are not counting towards your verb phrase. Okay, so that you might have some words that come in between the verbs, whereas on the last page, I didn't have any words come in between. They were working right next to each other. Okay, this time I do, so I'm not counting not. So then again, I'm going to circle my helping in red and my main in green. Okay? So just so you know, if you have not, always, or never come in between the words, you're not going to use those. You're not going to include them. All right, some practice sentences. The court can reject a law. Let's do the basketball game was delayed due to rain. Okay, I'm going to change that to baseball because basketball's played inside. And one last one, we will do, can you hear me better on the phone? Okay, so I'm going to first underline my verb phrase. So I'm going to go look, the court can reject a law. The court can do what? It can reject. So here's my verb phrase. Now I need to go grab my red marker, and can is the helping, reject is the main. For the second one, the baseball game was delayed due to rain. The baseball game was what? Was delayed. So I'm going to underline my verb phrase there. Was is my helping, and delayed is my main. And the last one, can you hear me better on the phone? All right, here I know is a verb, so I'm going to underline that. Now I have to go find the helping verb. Can you hear me better on the phone? Can sounds like it's working with hear. Now notice, I'm not underlining you because you is not a verb. It's not part of the verb phrase, okay? And that might happen where you have some words, they don't always have to be right next to each other. So can, and my main verb is here. Okay? So again, this is how you find verb phrases and how you find your main and helping verbs. Your main and helping verb assignment should be on Google Classroom.